The very first thing a man did after being reborn into the apocalypse was trick his cousin into a small room. Neighbors immediately cursed me, calling me a complete beast. But only I knew the truth: doomsday was coming. Soon, global temperatures would rise by thousands of degrees. Anyone exposed to direct sunlight would mutate into flesh-eating monsters. And even the lucky survivors would eventually slaughter each other over dwindling resources. In those desperate days, a single piece of ice could sell for billions, while a pack of instant noodles could make someone like Liu Ruyan get down on her knees and beg. In my previous life, I spent 2.5 years scouring for supplies, feeding and protecting Liu Ruyan, my so-called girlfriend. In the end, she and her old flame Huang Mao betrayed me. They murdered me brutally, stole everything I had, and even humiliated me right in front of my dying eyes. Now that fate has given me another chance, I will repay every ounce of suffering 100-fold. The most urgent task now was preparation. I put on my work uniform, ready to head back to the warehouse from my part-time job. But because I stepped in with my left foot first, they deducted half a month's salary from my pay. I only smirked. The more they mistreated me, the less guilt I felt about taking everything for myself. With a wave of my hand, I activated the power I had awakened in my past life, the spatial dimension. Instantly, every last supply in the warehouse was sucked into my pocket dimension. Within this space, over 100,000 square meters stretched endlessly, and time itself stood still. Any food stored inside would stay fresh forever. Just as I was reviewing my haul, my boss and 2 employees walked in to collect goods, only to find the warehouse completely empty. He immediately demanded to know where everything had gone. I didn't even flinch. With a flicker of space jump, I vanished before their eyes. The ability only allowed me to teleport within a 3-meter radius, but in the apocalypse, that was more than enough to raid buildings or slip away from danger, even to escape a zombie's grasp in the nick of time. As I was setting up my next move, my phone rang. The caller ID made my face darken. It was Liu Ruyan. The moment I picked up, her impatient scolding blasted through the line. "Chen, how dare you disappear on me? And you put the apartment up for sale without telling me? I'll give you one more chance: transfer the deed to me right now, or forget about ever marrying me." I hung up without a word, then immediately called the real estate agent. I told them to sell the apartment at half price, but only for cash. When I arrived at the agency, I was stunned to see Liu Ruyan already waiting there with Huang Mao. She stormed toward me, fuming. "Chen, do you know how long I've been waiting here?" I ignored her and walked past, but Huang Mao blocked my way, shouting, "Who gave you permission to sell our house? Try it, and I'll make sure you don't live to see tomorrow." Before he could finish, I seized his throat, lifted him off the ground, and slammed him into the floor. "This is mine. What I choose to do with it is none of your damn business." Liu Ruyan rushed forward, shrieking for help. "Someone stop him, he's killing." But with a single strike, I sent her sprawling. Shock filled her eyes. For 18 years, I had been her pathetic lapdog, yet now I dared to hit her. Huang Mao lay on the ground, gasping and begging for mercy, but I only sneered. "Don't worry. You won't die so easily." I turned and walked straight into the office. By then, Liu Ruyan had gathered herself, shouting after me with arrogance. "Chen, apologize right now before I get angry, or you can forget about ever marrying me." I met her words with a cold, murderous glare. Terrified, both she and Huang Mao bolted out the door. Inside, Manager Liu greeted me with a wide smile, though inwardly he cursed me as a fool. Selling a million-yuan apartment for half its worth meant he could pocket a fortune. But I didn't care. I only demanded the money be transferred immediately. Moments later, 700,000 yuan landed in my account. Xanadu was still untouched by disaster, for now. I had to seize this window to stockpile as much as possible. But even 700,000 was far too little for true survival. Just then, an ad caught my eye. Perfect timing. Soon, I walked into a loan company run by Wang Dahai, asking how much I could borrow against property. He offered 500,000. I pressed my hand on the deed and demanded 600,000, promising repayment with interest in a week. Wang Dahai smirked to himself, mistaking me for a desperate gambler he could bleed dry. He handed me the money gladly. Another 600,000 added to my funds. I headed straight to the largest hotel in Xanadu, Greentown Hotel. In my past life, countless skyscrapers had collapsed under natural disasters, but Greentown stood firm until the very end. Making it my base this time was a clear choice. Though my pocket dimension was full of supplies, I still lacked freshly cooked meals. So I struck a deal with the hotel manager, 1,000 banquet tables at 10,000 yuan each. I wired a 500,000 deposit, with the rest to be settled in a week. The manager, assuming I was some rich heir, asked curiously, "Such a grand order, is it for a wedding?" Since he had already supplied the excuse, I didn't deny it. I even booked the presidential suite. For just 500,000 yuan, I secured food worth over 10 million. As for the remaining balance? Once the apocalypse hit, a single ice cube would be worth billions. Not long after I left, Liu Ruyan and Huang Mao slithered in to question the manager. "Excuse me, what was that man doing here?" "I'm his girlfriend," Liu Ruyan insisted. The manager eyed her, unimpressed, but still revealed that I had just booked a massive wedding banquet worth 10 million. Both of them froze in disbelief. "That's impossible, Suchen doesn't have that kind of money." The manager showed them the receipt. Rich people love hiding their wealth until the wedding day. They don't want gold diggers sniffing around. Only then did Liu Ruyan and Huang Mao accept the truth. Convinced I was a secret heir, Liu Ruyan's mood soared. She thought her long-dreamed life as a pampered rich wife was finally within reach, through me, her once spineless lapdog. Meanwhile, I returned home to plan my next steps. With 800,000 left, I still hadn't bought enough essentials. Even with deposits, it was far from enough. But then it struck me, if the end of the world was coming, why not bleed the online loan companies dry? I maxed out every lending app available, small ones, big ones, anything I could get. In total, I pulled together another 970,000. Now came the real shopping spree. Everything the supermarkets didn't carry, I ordered online. Remembering that the searing heat would eventually give way to brutal cold, I wired another 500,000 deposit for 2,000 tons of smokeless coal. The supplier insisted on meeting in person, so I agreed. But as soon as I stepped out of my community gate, two figures blocked my path, Liu Ruyan and her best friend Lina. Well, if it isn't Su Chen," Lina said with a smile. "Ruyan and I have been thinking about you these past few days." In my past life, it was Lina who constantly spread rumors about me behind my back, even egging Liu Ruyan on to seize my apartment. So, what now? Still coveting my property? Hearing that, Lina quickly tried to explain, claiming everything before was just Liu Ruyan's way of testing me. Ruyan herself grabbed my hand, saying she was only in a bad mood yesterday, which was why she lost her temper. I didn't even slow down. Without a glance back, I walked away. The two of them, however, mistook my indifference as the aloof test of a rich second-generation heir. Panicking, they hailed a cab and tailed me. Not long after, I arrived at the ice factory. "How long will it take to prepare 2,000 tons of edible ice?" I asked. Boss Wu slapped his chest confidently. 2.5 days, no problem. We set the time. I wired him a 100,000 yuan deposit on the spot, promising cash on delivery for the rest. No sooner had I left than Liu Ruyan rushed up to interrogate him. Upon hearing I was about to spend 800,000 on ice, both she and Lina were left utterly speechless. With my stockpile nearly complete, I rewarded myself with a visit to a luxury restaurant. While browsing the menu, I noticed one dish priced at 17,000 yuan with nothing but a question mark beside it. The waiter explained, "That's a random special, crafted personally by our master chef." Curious, I ordered it. Soon after, a pink-haired beauty appeared, carrying my plate. "This dish was tailored to your aura," she said. But when I saw her face, my heart jolted. In the last apocalypse, she was known as Duanya, the Hell's Demon Chef. Her skills were legendary, able to turn rot into delicacies no one could resist. Yet every dish was made from the essence of mutant beasts. Anyone who ate it was doomed to die. Even so, as I tasted the meal, I couldn't deny the craftsmanship was extraordinary. 2 days later, my supplies arrived at the warehouse one after another. Liu Ruyan, Li Na, and Huang Mao soon turned up as well. Seeing the storeroom piled high with luxurious banquet goods, Ruyan's lips nearly split into a grin. She thought for sure I was about to propose, and secretly vowed to milk me for every cent. Sidling up, she asked sweetly, "What's all this for, Su Chen?" I replied lightly, "If you can help move everything inside, I'll tell you." Her smile froze. Soon to be a rich wife, and I was asking her to haul cargo? Absolutely not. But Li Na whispered, "This must be Su Chen testing you to see if you're worthy of being a rich wife." Convinced, Liu Ruyan forced herself to help, loudly declaring she wasn't the kind of woman to complain. With clenched teeth, she hauled boxes while daydreaming about her future as Madame Su. Li Na, too, joined in, hoping to at least leech some benefits. I, meanwhile, chuckled quietly. Free labor, why waste it? After a full day's work, everything was finally stored away. Li Na collapsed, cursing me for making them move so much. Ruyan was also exhausted but held out, clinging to her dream. She staggered toward me, expecting a confession. Instead, I handed out 10,000 yuan red envelopes to the delivery drivers, assuring them the rest of their payments would come within the week. Then I turned coldly to the two women. Thanks for the help. But no reward for you. You can leave now. Panic flickered in Ruyan's eyes. Su Chen, don't joke around. The banquet will go cold, bring out the guests so we can have our wedding already. I sighed dramatically. I'd like to. But the truth is, I sold my apartment and I'm drowning in debt. Are you really willing to suffer through a life of hardship with me? Li Na snapped, impossible. You've spent over 10 million already, how could you be broke? I answered calmly, those supplies aren't mine. A wealthy philanthropist paid for them and asked me to deliver them to the countryside for charity. I'm just the middleman. Ruyan's face darkened instantly. Her true nature burst out. You bastard! You've been lying to me all along. She lunged at me with clawed hands, but I sidestepped effortlessly, scoffing. Lying? About what, exactly? Falling to the ground, Ruyan shrieked, "You're not even a rich heir. Forget about marrying me." I shot her a look of disgust. Who would ever want a gold digger like you? Ignoring them, I returned to counting my supplies. Once satisfied, I activated my spatial dimension and stored everything away. That night at the Greentown Hotel, Liu Ruyan was already nestled in Huang Mao's arms. Wang Dahai reassured her, "Stick with me, and you'll have the best of everything." Just then, my mocking voice rang out from nearby. Ruyan, you really have no standards, do you? Huang Mao jumped up, shouting, "Big brother, that's the guy who attacked me." Wang Dahai recognized me too. So you're the gambler who pawned his deed with me. Your 600,000 is due. Tonight we'll settle both debts old and new. The women secretly sighed in relief. Luckily they distanced themselves from me already. Huang Mao, however, couldn't wait. He called his thugs forward to teach me a lesson. The hotel manager rushed in, pleading for calm. "Gentlemen, we're all civilized. Let's talk this out." Wang Dahai growled, "Fine. If he kneels and apologizes to Huang Mao, I'll let it go." The manager turned to me nervously, but I simply waved him off. "Don't worry. Just a few street punks." That insult sent Wang Dahai into a fury. You dare look down on me? Even if the King of Heaven himself came, you'd still be dead tonight. But before his words finished, an angry voice thundered from behind him. What the hell is going on here? Who told you to cause trouble in my hotel? Wang Dahai spun around and froze. His face shifted instantly, a Sichuan opera mask change. Bowing low, he stammered, "Brother Chang, this is all a misunderstanding." For the man who arrived was Gao Chang, the Greentown Hotel's real boss. Outwardly a famous Xanadu entrepreneur, but in truth, a powerful underworld figure, one even Wang Dahai dared not offend. I, too, recognized him. In the last life, Gao Chang's forces were among Xanadu's most formidable. Even Duanya, the Hell's Demon chef, had once served under him. Suddenly, I remembered, Greentown Hotel was the very first place where regression mutations had appeared. Perhaps that was how Gao Chang earned the fearsome title of Furnace Breaker in the Apocalypse. If that's true, then maybe this opportunity can be mine. Thanks to his intervention, I returned safely to my presidential suite. Memories of my last life came rushing back, how I survived the scorching apocalypse only by hiding in a basement with Liu Ruyan. Yet this time, after abandoning her, she had still followed me here. Perfect. I could settle old and new grudges at once. Meanwhile, outside the hotel, Wang Dahai and his crew noticed the night growing hotter than the day had been. But when they imagined girls in swimsuits later, they brushed it aside. Upstairs, Lina, now in swimwear, whispered to Ruyan, "Don't you think the moon looks unnaturally bright tonight?" Huang Mao clasped Ruyan's hand. "My love for you is as bright as that moon." Watching from above, I chuckled coldly. Too bad your love is about to be incinerated. I raised my glass high. Welcome back, to the apocalypse. The words had barely left my lips when the moon suddenly shuddered violently. Temperatures skyrocketed. Skin blistered, bodies turned red. Screaming, the three of them sprinted faster than Olympic sprinters back into the hotel. But even inside, the heat was unbearable. Spotting a large fish tank, they dove in without hesitation, leaving onlookers utterly baffled. Wang Dahai, heavier and slower, stumbled in near collapse, his body nearly roasted. His men cried they needed a hospital, and he quickly called his underling Xiaoguo for a car. But as Xiaoguo drove out of the garage, a blinding flash of light melted the tires instantly. Stepping onto the street, the soles of his shoes liquefied on the burning pavement. He collapsed, unable to rise. His last agonized screams echoed through Wang Dahai's phone. In just 2.5 hours, the outdoor temperature had soared to 75 degrees Celsius, with ground temperatures hitting 100 degrees Celsius, instant death for anyone outside. The city's power grid, overloaded, exploded. The entire metropolis was plunged into blackout. Without air conditioning, the temperature inside their rooms spiked relentlessly. People cursed in despair, shouting they'd soon be cooked alive. That was when Liu Ruyan had a flash of inspiration. If we see Su Chen's presidential suite, we can use the pool to cool down. Unaware, I lounged comfortably in my room. Without my memories of the past life, I would never have thought to prepare industrial air conditioners, massive batteries, and tons of ice. And so, while the world outside burned, my sanctuary remained an oasis of cool. The moment Wang Dahai saw inside my room, his spirit jolted awake. I asked flatly, "What business do you people have here?" Huang Mao's eyes went wide as he spotted the full array of equipment. Excited, he shouted, "Big brother, look at this place. Not only does it have power and ice, it even has fresh food." Shoving her way in, Liu Ruyan cursed while glaring at me. "Su Chen, we're out there roasting to death, and you're in here living it up? Hand this room over to us." Wang Dahai stepped forward, echoing her demands. "Kid, you still owe me money. But if you give me this room, I might be generous enough to forgive your interest for the past few days." Before he could finish, a gunshot rang out. Wang Dahai doubled over, clutching his abdomen in disbelief. I leveled the pistol coldly at the crowd. Anyone who takes one more step forward will share his fate. Cold sweat broke out on every forehead. Gritting his teeth, Wang Dahai hissed, "You actually got your hands on a gun? Fine, you win this time. I'll let it go." Another gunshot cracked through the air. Screaming, Wang Dahai collapsed to the floor. "Didn't I tell you to get the hell out?" I barked. 3 seconds, or die where you stand. Meanwhile, in the hotel lobby, Gao Chang was interrogating the manager about the missing food supplies. The man stammered that a guest had ordered massive banquets days earlier, so much had already been consumed. A local gang boss suddenly cut in, demanding all remaining food and water be sent to his room. Instantly, the rest of the hotel exploded in outrage, cursing him for dooming everyone else. At that moment, Huang Mao dragged the wounded Wang Dahai into the lobby. Liu Ruyan seized the chance, loudly claiming I was hoarding supplies. The crowd roared with anger, chanting for justice, and rushed toward my room. As soon as they felt the cool air inside, greedy eyes lit up everywhere. "Times are hard, young man," someone lectured. "Respect the elderly and care for the children. Let us inside to cool off." While they shouted, a bratty kid darted in, eyes fixed on the fried chicken on my table. He screamed, "Grandma! I want fried chicken!" Without hesitation, I kicked him clean across the room. "Control your damn kids, or I'll do it for you." Instead of disciplining the child, the mob turned on me with fury. "He's just a kid. How could you hit him? You don't deserve this room." One agitator rallied the others. "Don't be afraid, he's just one man. Let's take him down together." Bang! A single bullet silenced him forever. The crowd froze, horrified. "I may be alone," I said icily, "but each of you only gets one life. Who wants to waste theirs next?" Under the crushing weight of fear, they scattered everyone but Liu Ruyan and Li Na. They lingered, lowering their pride. "Let us in, and we'll do anything for you," I sneered. "So loyal, the both of you." "Fine, come in, then." Overjoyed, they thought my heart had finally softened, and rushed forward eagerly. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the hotel, Wang Dahai, untreated, finally succumbed to his wounds. Huang Mao, burning with vengeance, came looking for me. But I met him head-on, gripping a baseball bat. "Step through this door," I warned, "and you die." The next morning, government troops surrounded the hotel. Soldiers in heat-resistant suits entered, presenting one to a man named Liu Xiaoguo. "Please remain calm," they announced. "Rescue operations have begun. At midnight, the lowest temperature of the day, you may head to Silicon Valley Square. That is the nearest relief point." The crowd erupted in cheers. But then a man burst out arrogantly. "I am Zhang Debiao of the Zhang Group. I'll pay 100 million, give me the suit and let me go first." Before he finished, a soldier slammed him down effortlessly. Liu Xiaoguo is a national geology expert, vital to this disaster response. "Do not interfere again." At that moment, Liu Ruyan slithered up to another soldier. "Wait upstairs, there's a murderer. He's hiding guns and has already killed people." Others jumped in, fueling the fire, insisting I had weapons and blood on my hands. Ignoring his comrade's caution, one soldier ripped off his helmet and declared he would personally deal with me. Ruyan smirked darkly. In her mind, once I was dead, she could claim my room and wait comfortably for rescue. But as the soldier entered the hallway, his eyes caught a hidden camera in the plants. Before he could react, flash. A blinding grenade exploded, white light engulfing the corridor. When he regained consciousness, he was bound tightly in ropes. "Vice Captain Liu Xiaoguo," I said smoothly, "since you're awake, let's talk." Staring at the room packed with ice, Liu was both shocked and bewildered. "Who the hell are you? Where did you get guns and flashbangs?" I smiled faintly. "Picked them up while traveling in the Middle East." Whether he believed me or not, I pressed on. "The government's setting up rescue points, right? Telling people to march there at midnight?" He confirmed it, and I sighed. Just as I thought. Even at its lowest, the heat is still lethal. Anyone exposed to moonlight for more than 10 minutes without protection will collapse. Most won't even survive the trip. Liu's face was grim. "There's nothing else we can do. Modifying rescue vehicles is too difficult. For now, people have to walk." I clapped his shoulder. "Even thick quilts and winter coats can help block the heat. As long as they don't collapse along the way, their chances improve." Then I cut his ropes. "I respect your mission, so I'll spare you. But don't test me again." I tilted my head toward the corner. Liu's eyes widened in terror. There stood an automated turret, equipped with facial recognition. "You, where did you get this?" Middle East trip, I said lazily. You should know better than anyone. If this thing activates, nobody survives but me. Word spread quickly, and fear of me deepened further. Meanwhile, Zhang Debiao fumed at his failed bribe. In rage, he slapped Gao Chang. Useless bastard. Why didn't you grab that suit for me? When his anger turned toward Gao's own men, one asked nervously, Boss, how long do we have to put up with this? Gao Chang kept his cool. The government is restoring order. Once they do, we'll need his connections above. For now, endure it. Just then, my mocking voice cut in. Order? Gao Chang, the age of chaos has already begun. And you still dream of order? A long-haired thug bristled, but Gao held him back. Su Chen, how about a trade? I tipped out a thermos full of ice cubes. At the sight, both Gao and his man's pupils shrank. Ice, he has ice. Kill him and it's all ours. Before he could finish, I pressed my gun to his throat. Gao chuckled smoothly. Relax, brother Su Chen. Let's talk business properly. When they finally tasted the ice, it was like their very souls were reborn. But before long, Zhang Debiao barged in, seething. Gao Chang! You've been hiding treasures from me? Next time, if you don't hand them over, you'll meet the king of hell. He greedily gobbled ice while eyeing Duanya, the demon chef, with a lecherous grin. You're still pretending to be reserved in this heat? Just my luck, I'm in the mood. Before he could lay a hand on her, Duanya slapped him hard across the face. Humiliated, Zhang roared that he'd kill her on the spot. But in the next instant, a blade slid across his throat. Gao Chang's eyes gleamed. Su Chen was right. The world is already chaos. And you, Zhang Debiao, have no more value. As his body hit the ground, Gao declared coldly, from now on this place belongs to me. Go to the rescue point, I muttered coldly. Or stay here forever. From my vantage, I could see everything. It seemed my words had taken root. Gao Chang was rising to dominance sooner than in my previous life. If I accelerated this process, perhaps his destined opportunities would appear earlier too. Inside Gao Chang's room, Liu Ruyan and Lina stared at him like starving dogs. Brother Chang, just give us some water. We'll do anything. With exaggerated generosity, Gao tossed them a jug. The long-haired thug frowned. Our supplies are limited. Why waste it on these useless freeloaders? Gao sneered. Didn't Su Chen say a few should be kept alive? We'll need cannon fodder anyway. Midnight came. The two women prepared to follow the crowd to the rescue point, but the long-haired man suddenly ripped away their quilts. You used our supplies, and now you want to walk free? Not happening. Didn't you say you'd do anything? Then you'll start with me. Meanwhile, wrapped in makeshift blankets, the hotel residents began their deadly march toward the relief zone. They knew staying meant certain death. At least the rescue point offered a sliver of hope. But the outside heat was beyond imagination. Even with wooden boards strapped to their shoes, the searing ground burned through. An old woman stumbled, and within seconds her body melted like ice cream. No one dared stop. Every survivor knew they had no time for compassion. At the Green City Hotel's entrance, the corpses of Wang Dahai and Zhang Debiao suddenly glowed red. Their eyes snapped open, they had mutated. Inside, just as the long-haired thug prepared to force himself on the women, the glass doors shattered. The monstrous forms of Wang Dahai and Zhang Debiao charged in. Panic exploded. Gao Chang instantly grabbed Huang Mao, shoving him forward as a shield. Even without direct contact, the heat radiating off the creatures burned Gao's skin. At that moment, I appeared, dragging a massive 2.5-meter blade across the floor. Gao sneered. Good. Let him fight the monsters, then we'll kill him afterward. But I remained calm. They weren't true zombies, the sunlight had twisted them into something closer to the mythical Hanba, creatures that carried scraps of memory and obsession from their lives. No wonder Zhang Debiao targeted Gao first, he had killed him in my past life. And Wang Dahai, his fate had been altered by me. Without hesitation, I ignored Dahai and lunged at Zhang Debiao. One clean strike split him in two. A glowing golden core shot from his corpse. I caught it instantly, then kicked Wang Dahai's hulking body toward Gao's gang. "This one's yours." While they struggled, I poured the radiant core into a glass of iced water and drank it down. A surge of terrifying energy erupted inside me, then blackness swallowed my mind. When I awoke 2 days later, my strength and speed had ascended to a new level. The heat could no longer harm me. Duanya came to my door. He had realized Gao Chang's group had gone completely mad, and I was his only hope. Before he could even speak, I opened the door. "You looking for me?" His face flushed red as his eyes dropped. After we spoke, I made it clear my resources were limited. "I can't keep you just because you're pretty." Panicked, Duanya explained he was not only a chef but also a trained surgeon with 3 years of experience. Still, I shook my head. "Your qualifications are tempting. But that's not enough." Desperate, he begged, "Just don't throw me out. I'll do anything." I smirked. That's what I wanted to hear. "From now on, treat this place like your home, but remember, obedience is your only choice. Try anything clever, and you'll regret it." To prove his resolve, Duanya obeyed my every demand. Soon after, he emerged from the bathroom in the clothes I'd given him. Too tight but perfect. Just as I admired the sight, pounding rattled the door. Duanya grabbed my arm in fear. "Don't open it. They already ate Lina. If you let them in, it's over." I froze. "They've started eating people?" I opened the door anyway. "Stop pounding. If you break the door, it'll be troublesome." Zhang Chang's gang stood outside, twisted and feral, their faces warped with hunger. One underling lunged at me with a knife only for me to catch his arm and drive the blade into his chest. Gasps rippled through the group at my speed. Liu Ruyan tried to rush past, crying for help. I seized her throat. "Once you eat human flesh, you change. The fangs come out. You're no longer human." Zhang Chang only laughed. "It's the apocalypse. If cannibalism keeps me alive, I'll eat the world." Liu Ruyan's eyes glowed red as she clawed at me. "Su Chen, I can't wait to taste you." I kicked her through the window. The gang roared, charging together. "Don't let him pull his gun." I stood calmly. "You think I need bullets for trash like you?" The first thug screamed as I casually blew his brains out anyway. "I like wasting bullets." The rest attacked, boasting their speed and strength had evolved. But I crushed them one by one, slamming heads into the floor, twisting knives into their own ribs. Finally, I had Zhang Chang himself pinned down, ready to finish him. When a shadow smashed through the hotel's bulletproof glass. Liu Ruyan. But she was no longer the same. Her mutated body had advanced to second stage, glowing with hatred. "So persistent," I muttered, raising my blade. "Fine. I'll kill you again." Her crimson eyes burned, and beside me, Duanya gasped in awe. "Su Chen, you're unbelievable. But she looks too dangerous. I can't just watch, I'll prove I'm not a burden." My figure vanished in an instant. When I appeared again, I was already behind Liu Ruyan. "Then let me test it," I whispered coldly. "How far can your regeneration really go?" With a sharp tug, I ripped her left arm clean off. "Next will be your right." Her shriek pierced the air as I tore away her other arm. Soon, the stumps writhed and began to regrow, but this time it took a full 3 minutes for her arms to return. Before she could recover her senses, I spoke again. "Ready? Round 2 begins now." Sweat poured down Duanya's forehead as he watched, unable to tell who was the true monster, Liu Ruyan, or me. After 21 brutal dismemberments, Liu Ruyan's regeneration finally collapsed. Her once blood-red eyes dimmed, becoming clearer, almost human again. Only when I'd vented enough did I end it one kick, sending Liu Ruyan off to meet her final death. My vengeance from the previous life was complete. Then I scooped Duanya into my arms. It was time for him to prove his resolve once more. 2.5 days later, the coming flood disaster had already shifted the world. Temperatures outside had returned to normal, yet countless corpses rose as Hanba. Their obsession with reaching the rescue point drove them to launch devastating assaults, shattering defenses and scattering weapons everywhere, birthing new factions in the apocalypse. I drove an off-road vehicle straight to the university, stashing it into my spatial storage before heading for the research building. At the gates, 2 chained Hanba growled, while a man in slippers sneered at me. "Kid, this is our turf. Hand over everything in your backpack." I slowly pulled out a drumstick. "3 brothers, let me pass, yeah?" The 3 thugs' eyes lit up. "You still have meat? Toss it here." Without a word, I threw the drumstick at their feet. In the blink of an eye, the so-called brothers turned on each other, fighting viciously over it. But just as they clawed for the prize, I pulled the meat back into my hand with a fine thread. "Sorry. You're not worthy of my chicken leg." Furious, they charged with weapons. "Dare play us? You're dead." Unfazed, I drew my Desert Eagle. 1 shot each. 3 corpses. Minutes later, I reached the snake biology lab. Breaking the lock, I pushed through the reek of rot. No one had entered for a long time. Searching carefully, I found my true goal, a massive King Cobra, showing signs of atavistic regression. In the flood disaster to come, it would evolve into the Serpent Lord. With 1 week until the waters rose, its metamorphosis was imminent. But staring into its eyes, I froze. They gleamed with intelligence. Could it be evolving consciousness? Before I could ponder further, soft footsteps echoed outside. Several armed survivors crept to the door. "We know you're in there. Come out." This was the Cobra's critical moment. I couldn't risk interruption. I prepared to kill them. When suddenly, a white-haired woman burst from the shadows, cutting them down with lethal grace. Just as I relaxed, a gun pressed against the back of my skull. "Not bad skills," a voice sneered. But before the sentence finished, the woman struck, knocking the weapon from my hand. She leapt, legs coiling around me, trying to snap my neck. No matter how she strained, I didn't budge. In her wide-eyed panic, I bound her tightly. "I am Bai Cang, captain of the Xiaoguo Special Forces," she spat. "Release me at once." I asked one question, "Do you know Liu Xiaoguo?" Her eyes widened in shock. "Who are you? How do you know Xiaoguo?" I smiled faintly. "Because I once saved his life." From her, I learned that their rescue camp had been overrun. Bai Cang had ordered Liu Xiaoguo to evacuate civilians, but escaped convicts had infiltrated the crowd. They seized the school, stole all weapons, and held students hostage. Understanding the situation, I untied Bai Cang and handed him a rifle. "I have my own mission. I can't help much. Take this, it's all I can spare." But Bai Cang swore he would strike the raiders' lair, reclaim the stolen supplies. Only then could the trapped survive. The word supplies froze me in place. Slowly, I drew out a sniper rifle. I just remembered, Liu Xiaoguo is my blood brother. "I'll go with you." Meanwhile, in the administration building, the bandit leader planned the assault on the dorms. His men promised success. He sneered, sending disobedient captives in front as cannon fodder. Suddenly, the door exploded open. "Sorry to interrupt your meeting," I said. One thug barked, "Who dares intrude? 20 guards outside, how did you get in?" "Simple," I smirked. I walked in. I raised my hand, miming a gun. A heartbeat later, the thug's head burst open. Panic swept the room. "Stay still," I ordered. "Or the next head will bloom like his." On the rooftop, Bai Cang whispered urgently into the comms, "There are at least 20 more in there. Don't move rashly, Su Chin." But as the curtains suddenly drew shut, his warning was drowned out by the gang's laughter. "Think a sniper outside will save you? Let's see you die, boy." Bai Cang sprinted for the building. Hold them off. I'm coming. 2 minutes later, he crashed through the office door only to freeze. Every bandit lay dead. Alone, I stood among their corpses. You're late, I told him. And the supplies? Already consumed. His face darkened. Without them, the students, how will they survive? Of course, the resources were already mine. If they behaved, maybe I'd share. Maybe. Come, I said. Xiaoguo and the others are in the girls' dorm. But as we left, one corpse opened its eyes. He had faked death for days, chasing only his twisted pleasures. At that moment, a masked man entered with a gang. Najia, did you find what you were looking for? The scarred woman smirked. I nearly brushed shoulders with death. Now I just need comfort. The masked man whipped her with barbed steel for hours, until she gasped in dark satisfaction. Her smile turned cruel. So, who stole our supplies? I'll feed him to the fish. Her gaze burned as she whispered his name. He's no man, he's a devil. His name is Chen.